Hey everybody, it's DDO Players and we are here at Gen Con 2021. Normally I would say we have came to the Restoration Games booth with Justin, but your booth was crazy busy. So we found a place out in the hallway. So it's a little different scenery, but it'll work for us. First of all, how you doing, Justin? Thanks for joining
Doing
us.
great. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we've been busy. The booth's been hopping. We have Return to Dark Tower out, and that's always going to draw a crowd. So.
Yeah, and I noticed you strategically placed that right at the corner where you walk by, and it's the first thing that you see.
High traffic area. For sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. So we'll talk about Gen Con here in a minute, but let's just talk about you and Restoration Games. Give us a little bit of information about who you guys are.
Sure. So we've been around since 2017. We released our first products. My partner is Rob Davio, and what we decided, our idea when we started the company, was to take old games that are out of print for a long time, games we grew up with from our childhood. We modernize them and bring them back as a modern reimagining or restoration of these old games, and it's been working for us. People really seem to respond to it, so it's exciting.
Yeah, because you guys have done like Fireball Island.
We Stop Thief.
I forgot about Stop Thief, Unmatched, of course.
Yeah, and then a few other smaller titles, and then obviously Dark Tower, and we've got some other stuff in the pipeline. We've got Thunder Road, Vendetta is a new version of Thunder Road that we'll be doing on Kickstarter, tentatively scheduled for October 12th, assuming that holds. And then some new other stuff in the future, Omega Virus, Crossbows and Catapults, and then some smaller games like that.
So can you talk a little bit about the process of how you go? It's like, hey, I remember this game, we want to do it. How is that process like to get the rights to it and then to update it?
Sure. So we're always on the lookout to sort of figure out what games might work for us. And one of the things from the day we started the company, there's a place on our website where you can go and tell us what games you want to see. And so we've had this running list. We've got thousands of suggestions since we started. And there's sort of this top tier was Dark Tower, Fireball Island, and Hero Quest, which Hasbro is redoing. And then sort of that second set right below that was Thunder Road, Crossbows and Catapults, and Omega Virus. Those three we're working on now. But in between, we see lots of different suggestions, and it doesn't always need to be a super popular one, but it needs to be one that we think. Usually what we're looking for is something that has like one really cool thing about it that people liked,
right? And
then something that we can build a really good modern game around it. So one of the games that we have coming out early next year is Key to the Kingdom, which a lot of people dug because it has a really cool folding board memechanism with a hole in it.
I never had it, but my cousin had it, and I remember the whole board.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. The rest of the game was, we've gotten better at making games in the last 30, 40 years. So we took that cool part and we built a fun little game around it. And so we're always on the lookout, whether it's stuff we think of or suggestions we get from other people. Find one that's a good fit and that we think we can do a good job on, and that's what we start working on.
Is it like, how do you go about even finding out who holds the rights for some of those?
So
that's got to be a nightmare,
every game is different, and some are easier than others. So Key to the Kingdom, I just tracked down the designer. I found him online. I messaged him, and we had a conversation, and he's super excited it's coming back. And then sometimes we either find out they might have passed away because some of these games are pretty old, or it might be harder to find. And there haven't been too many that we have sort of been able to do. We've had a couple that we've looked at where things were too murky and we just figured we couldn't do them, and so we just moved on to something else. But usually, that's part of what I bring to the table is tracking these things down and working things out with these people to be able to bring these new additions back.
Right. Okay. And let's talk about, we'll talk about kind of Dark Tower first.
Sure.
That's the one that should be coming next.
So
hopefully.
Yes. So we actually, obviously worldwide logistics is a bit of a mess right now. But we just recently got a bunch of containers, and we're starting to see that we'll be able to schedule those. So we have games getting on containers that are getting on ships in a matter of a week or two. And then they've got to make that trip across the ocean, and then we've got to ship them out to people. So I think backers are going to start getting theirs within the next couple of months. And again, it's such a big, complicated game. The manufacturer can only make 3,000 a week, which is about one container's worth.
Which I can see just by looking at that in there. It's a complicated game. I can see that.
Yeah. So we'll start getting a container a week, and as they hit the fulfillment centers, not just the U.S. but obviously Europe and Asia and Australia, We're going to send them out as soon as we can book space and get those to people basically as fast as we can, willing, the gods of logistics willing.
Right.
So.
And then I know you got a newer version of Unmatched coming out too.
Battle Legends Volume 2 is we're demoing at the show here. That should be hopefully hitting our warehouse in time for people to order on our website for the holidays. And the street date for retail will probably be either late January or February of next year.
And I was going to ask, is Dark Tower going to go retail as well?
Well, first of all, we have a lot of retailers who back the Kickstarter, so they'll be getting theirs. And I know they did a lot of pre-orders, but whatever extras they have, obviously they'll be able to sell also. So there should definitely be some available in that arena. And then we will have some left over. We don't know quite how many, and it's not going to be a lot. So I sort of imagine, assuming it's popular, that it's going to be a little bit like what happened with Gloomhaven. When that came out, there was a bit of a scramble to find places that had them, and the people that got them would only get 1 or 2 copies. That is potentially what might happen. We'll see. But then obviously, if it's successful, we're happy to do another reprint.
Right.
We already did all the hard work on the front end, so,
so
I'd be more than happy to do a reprint, assuming it's popular.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, and then let's talk about the Keys to the Kingdom.
Key to the Kingdom.
Or Key to the Kingdom.
Yep. So that's a game from 1992 with the cool folding board. And that is art by Andrew Bosley. It's a really fun, sort of whimsical world. It's sort of the exact opposite of Return to Dark Tower. And that is being manufactured as we speak. And that should hit maybe like spring of next year. It should be in retail.
Excellent. And then Thunder Road, I know that's one you're working on currently.
That's right. So we're wrapping that up as we speak as far as initial design and the design, everything for our Kickstarter, which we're tentatively launching on October 12th. We just put our pre-launch page up, so if you go search for it and you sign up and you end up backing the project, you'll get a freebie out of it. But it's fun. I'm going to start posting on social some of the stuff that we've updated to it. The original game is this sort of chaotic run and gun shooting car race thing, a bit of a Mad Max vibe to it. We carry that forward, but then we have sort of some refinements to the system. So we're spacing the turns out more evenly so that the downtime's reduced. Little things like that that just make it run a little more smoothly.
Yeah, and I noticed that you have like it in there, and it looks pretty solid so far.
I mean, it's just prototype art, so we don't have the full art yet. That we're going to reveal all that stuff in the Kickstarter. It's got a fun. We went for like a grindhouse vibe.
I can sort of kind of tell that.
And Jason's having a lot. Jason Taylor, our graphic designer, has been having a lot of fun. We're working with an artist, Marie Bergeron, who's amazing, and the stuff's really starting to look cool. We got the 3D renders for the vehicles that are coming, and those are starting to look really cool. So I'm getting excited. It's all sort of coming together. Right in time for the Kickstarter.
Anything else that you got coming up that you can talk about?
So we have one of the things with the international situation being what it is, we actually are looking to do some games domestically where we can. Something like Return to Dark Tower is just really not even possible there. But so we have a game coming out later this year called Buried Treasure, Berried. It's actually a restoration of an old Sid Saxon game called Buried Treasure, Burid. But it's a real simple card game, set collection, very high interaction with one really cool scoring mechanism that makes it, Sid Saxon genius kind of game. So that's fun. It's going to be $20 and should be out around the holidays, hopefully. And that one's a lot of fun with art by Heather Vaughn. So
perfect. And then if they want information on any of these games, what's the website we can go to?
Website's Restoration Games. I'm also super active on Twitter, especially if you have questions or something. That's usually a good place to hit me up. We're at Restoration Game. Leave off the S because it's too long. So. But yeah, I'm always happy to hear from folks.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out. I'll let you get back to this busy Gen Con.
All right.